Hey guys, so this is Andrew with Prudent Reviews, and I just wanted to hop on here really quick to answer any questions about cookware or any other kitchenware. I know today is Prime Day. Prime Day started yesterday, and it goes through, I believe, to the end of the week. So I think it goes through Friday. So there's a bunch of good deals on cookware, and I know a ton of people are in shopping mode right now, trying to get a good deal. So if you have any questions at all about any brands I've tested, All Clad, Maiden, Miesen, DeMeyer, DeBouye, Lodge, um, just drop them in the chat and I will try to answer as many questions as I can. Our Place. So first question, thank you, Steven. Our Place Titanium Pro. It's not non-stick. Is that a question or have you tried it and you believe it's not non-stick? Um, I actually have one right here. This is what you're talking about, Steven. This is the Our Place Titanium Pro, and you're absolutely right. It is not non-stick. However, the way they design it, I found in my testing, is a little bit more non-stick than your typical just straight stainless steel. Um, so I'm actually a fan of it. They made some design changes. They took the peg off of the handle, um, and so before there was steam escaping under the lid, and that is no longer an issue. So eggs and fish both stick. Yeah, I think um, if you preheat it properly and you oil the pan, you don't need too much oil, but they shouldn't stick. But that's good feedback. Interesting to hear. What is the best DeMeyer stainless steel series? So I've tested two so far. The Atlantis, which includes the Pro line fry pans, and I've also tested the Industry, and I have both of them right here, so I can show you while I'm talking. Oops. So this is the DeMeyer Atlantis Pro line. Super thick, retains heat really well. It's kind of like built like a cast iron skillet, super heavy, slow to heat, but once it's hot, maintains a temperature really well. So if you want that like really good sear, you're not tweaking the temperature up and down, it's really steady temperature, DeMeyer Atlantis. If you want a little bit more responsiveness, this is the thinner Industry 5. So this is going to cook like your typical all clad made in your typical like 3 millimeter give or take stainless steel pan. I like them both, but they cook very differently. Um, but they both have rivetless handles, um, and they're both really good quality cookware. Huge fan of DeMeyer. Yeah, Steven, you with the Titanium Pro, you do kind of have to treat it like a stainless steel pan in terms of preheating and greasing. But just in my experience, it is a little bit less sticky than stainless steel. For whatever reason, I think due to the pattern on it. But it's not for everyone. It is a little bit harder to clean. How do you compare? How do you compare Allclad's base tier cookware to their copper core set? Great question. So Allclad, as many of you know, offers a bunch of different collections. D3 is their like baseline set. That's their best seller. It's their 3-ply straight aluminum core. Um, and that performs for like your average home cook like myself. You're not going to notice much of a difference between the copper core and the D3. You're just not. Like in theory, the copper core is a little bit more responsive because it has copper in it, but it's really not a major difference. I wouldn't buy copper core and pay the extra money because I thought it's going to change like the outcome of my cooking. It has some other cool things. It has that like Wish I had it right in front of me. It has that copper stripe on the outside. The handle's a little bit longer. It has a little gap in the handle that makes it look a little more high end, but otherwise, cooking performance, it's pretty similar. Uh, awesome question. Any recommendations on splatter screens? Splatter screens, I honestly don't use them that much. I just deal with the splatter. I have a flat top cooktop, so I don't have to like lift up heavy grates like on most gas. So I just wipe. But you can get a pretty good splatter screen on Amazon for like $10. There's a product I tested called Splatter Dome, which is kind of like a rubber cone that sits on top of the pan, which works great. But it's another thing you have to clean. So you're either cleaning that or your cooktop. So if you do have a gas cooktop with heavy grates and you don't feel like taking those off every night, something like the splatter dome or a regular splatter screen works well. I have not tested pepper mills. Good question, but maybe I should. I'd like to see other comparisons. Yeah, that's a great comment. You're mentioning that you want to see other comparisons, not just between skillets. And I do plan to do that. Uh, a lot of times I choose skillets just because it's if I'm going to compare apples to apples, I've sort of picked that as the baseline because that's the most used piece. And generally, if the fry pan is good, the saucepan, stock pot, they're all going to be built very similar. So you get the same performance. But I definitely plan on testing saucepans, stock pots, saute pans in the future. So splatter screens don't help. Yeah, that's a good point. Splatter screens, you have to remove them when you're flipping. So yeah, there's pros and cons. And just to let you guys know, I have a bunch of cookware in front of me on the shelf and in front of me, which you can't see. So if you guys want to see any particular pans, as long as I can find it, I'm happy to show you guys or do any comparisons. If you want to see handles, rivets, anything up close, I have pretty much everything in front of me if I can find it. I also have Dutch ovens. Um, so happy to show you guys anything that you're interested in. Um, I also have a bunch of chef's knives across the room. So if anyone has questions about chef's knives, I can also answer those. And like I said, Amazon Prime Day is happening. I went through a ton of deals yesterday and I sent a list to my newsletter. So if you're on the newsletter, you saw that. I'll probably be updating and sending another email tonight because deals are coming and going. But there's some really good stuff. Not, I didn't see a ton in cookware, but I did see a lot in small appliances. So like air fryers, blenders, that sort of stuff. There's a bunch of good deals. If I could only have one pot, which would it be? In terms of shape or brand, and I can answer both, but um, in terms of shape, I would probably go with if it was just one, I would probably go with like a 4-quart saute pan, just because it has more vertical sides and a big cooking surface, so you can do a lot of searing and browning plus sauces, boiling, stuff like that. So big saute pan if I could only have one. I know they make those like all-in-one pans that are kind of like a big, kind of like a saucier, but a little bit wider with big tall sides. Those work, but I wouldn't really want to use it every day just because it's big and a lot to clean. Why are manufacturers hesitant to release 12-inch pans and saute pans? That's the minimum. Um, It's a good question. Saute pans, they're usually the diameter is usually a little bit less than 12-inch just because they have more volume on the side, but there's definitely some out there. I'll have to get back to you on that one. Wide selection. Could you make a video on wide selection of carbon steel cookware? I recently, a few months ago, I did a best carbon steel skillet or fry pan video. I think I tested 7 or 8 of them. So if you haven't seen that, definitely check that out. And I also recently did an air fryer one few like a month ago. So definitely check that out. In terms of air fryers, there's a lot of good ones, and they all generally cook similarly. The Typhor Dome was really interesting. That was the one that I ultimately recommended the most, just because it was huge and it has the dual heating on the top and bottom. So it just cooks really evenly and consistently. The instant vortex is also really good. Um, if you just want something a little bit smaller on your counter. Hey Miguel, thank you. Thank you for watching. And yes, my shelves. This is so I have two more over there, and I'm running out of room, so I might need to get a little mini warehouse at some point. I definitely don't plan on hoarding all of this cookware forever. I do give away some of it, and I plan to give away all of it at some point. But I want to hold on to it for future reviews and comparisons and roundups. So like I don't want to give it away too soon and then be like, "Oh, I wish I did that video on, stainless steel pans made in France," and then I don't have that, so that's why I have a ton. Um, let's see, I missed a couple questions here. Aluminum half sheet pans and stainless steel half sheet pans. I recently did a sheet pan video, so check that out. Nordic Ware was ultimately the winner, but there's some other good options too. That has 12-inch. Meason has a new carbon steel pan nonstick that doesn't need to be seasoned. I am very excited about that. So, just to give context, Meason is coming out with a carbon clad pan, very similar to Strata. And I actually have Strata right here. So this is the Strata, and it's carbon steel on the interior, aluminum in the middle, and then stainless steel on the bottom. And Meason is coming out with basically that, but with a couple differences. I think it's nitrated carbon steel, and I can't remember if the bottom is stainless steel, but it's sort of this new carbon clad thing that's happening, and I'm super excited to test it. It's not available yet, so they told me it should be available in August. So I'm gonna try to get one as soon as it's ready and test it as fast and thoroughly as I can and give you guys my initial take because I know a lot of people want to be ordering that prior to the holidays. Keep the pans, please. We need more reviews. Yes, I do. I will keep the pans for now. And when I do decide to give these away, I will let you guys know. How the heck do you pay for all that gear to test? Great question. So I've been doing this since 2018. So it's been a slow accumulation. Um, and I started with just my website, prudentreviews.com. And I ran that business or that website, and I still run that website for 4 years before even starting YouTube. So I had a bunch of pans and cookware um, before I even started YouTube, and then I've just been slowly adding to it, little by little. Tri-ply carbon steel wok would be very interesting. I agree. Yeah, I'm a fan of this carbon steel hybrid. Uh, new thing that's going on, and it's light. It feels like it basically is a stainless steel pan. Talking about Strata, it's basically stainless steel, aluminum, carbon steel, and it's light. It's about 3 pounds, I believe. When you compare that to like a Debuye Mineral B, which is like 5 or 6 pounds, it just feels like a feather. But you can season it, and it's just much less sticky than stainless steel. So I've been recommending Strata a ton, and I've been using it a ton. Big fan. I'm looking forward to Meson. I bet if the Meson launch goes well, you'll probably see this more widespread across the industry. What is my favorite and least favorite part about doing reviews? That is a great question. My favorite part is just the creative process of it. So I my whole career I've been in marketing prior to starting this business, and I just love like the creative stuff. It's coming up with the tests. It's thinking about the shots that I'm going to film. It's thinking about how I'm going to start the video to get people interested in, and ultimately keep them interested so that they get this information that I believe is valuable. So the creative stuff is my favorite part. My least favorite part is a lot of it is pretty tedious. So like if I'm doing, for example, a roundup of the best Dutch ovens, I had 8 or 9 Dutch ovens, and I'm measuring each aspect of them. I'm weighing them. I'm doing all the testing. I'm doing the moisture retention. All that stuff, takes multiple days, and I'm just kind of, over and over again with each one. It's tiring, but that's what makes. I think that's what makes the videos good. All the testing and all the up close shots of the products in action. So hopefully it's worth it. I missed a couple there. Um, Food processors. I haven't done any real testing on food processors, um, so I don't really have a recommendation. I do plan on testing them soon. I want to get. I'm starting, as you could probably see on my channel, I'm starting to get more into appliances and other kitchen gear, just because I need a little break from cookware, and there's so much in the kitchen that I haven't reviewed. So Cuisinart is, like, the one I use, but I haven't used a bunch, so I can't say if it's necessarily a lot better than the others. Mhm. Based on your video. Alabama, that's great to hear, good choice on the Lodge. Can't you When people ask me about cookware, especially cast iron, like, I almost always recommend Lodge. It's such a good value, so you can't go wrong with that. Do you auction off all the pans you have tested? No. That's a good question, Betty. I mentioned this, so I won't get too into it, but I'm mostly hanging on to them for now because I don't know what future comparisons and tests I'm going to be doing. So I'm hanging on to them, but at some point I'm going to give them away. Yeah, the scratch tests and like the grill brush test where I rubbed the brush on the grill 100 times, or I opened the food storage containers, I think 300 times. It's super tedious and like it's like pretty physically tiring. Um, but I think it's worth it. It's my attempt at showing some long-term use in a short period of time because with some of these products, you can't really do a proper review and use each one the same amount over the course of 6 months. Like it's just impossible to do it evenly and in a controlled way. So sometimes I'll do that exercise where I use the product a ton in a short period of time, and I actually usually find something interesting while I'm doing it. Like something will become loose or break. So I think it's worth it. The Smarter Everyday Grill Scrubber. No. So I did the grill brush review last week, and everyone in the comments said you should have tested the smarter everyday grill scrubber. And I honestly didn't even know about it. Um, and now it's on pre-order, so I'm gonna pre-order it, and I might reach out to that creator and see if he can send me one. But I do not have one yet. Um, Betty, yes, I will keep you in mind. If you subscribe to my newsletter, that's where I promise I won't spam you. I send out emails when these products go on sale. So I sign up to all of the alerts from every brand, and as soon as I get their alerts, I'll compile them like on a week like this, or Memorial Day or Columbus Day or Black Friday. Whenever there's a ton of sales, I send out emails letting you guys know about the sales. And that's the list that I will also be sending to when I decide to start giving stuff away. So, yes, there are similar chainmail style grill brushes. OXO has one, and I was close to testing that one, but I didn't. Um, so just so you guys know, with the roundup reviews, these like best whatever product reviews that I've been doing, um, what I typically do is I will look at a few sources like America's Test Kitchen, Serious Eats, Wirecutter, Reddit, other YouTube channels, and I'll try to get a consensus of like what are the best 5 to 6 products in this category that everyone thinks are the best or have won the award for the best, based on some other outlets testing. And so and then I'll look at like Amazon bestsellers, and things like that. And so I try to take the best that's out there and figure out what's the best of the best. And so I think because that grill brush is so new, it wasn't showing up in any of those places where I was looking, and that's why I didn't include it. But I'm glad that you guys told me about it, so I will definitely test it next time. And also, just so you know, I'm planning to refresh these videos hopefully yearly, or maybe like every year and a half, as new as I see your comments and you tell me, oh, you should have tested this or that, and other new models come out. I plan on just repeating the tests and kind of doing a 2026, 2027 update just to make sure everything is like you guys know what is the best out there right now. So keep an eye out for those. Um, Thank you, John. Appreciate that. Thank you, Mo. Um, are you familiar with Towncraft pots and pans? No, I am not. Um, but your mom has had them for over 50 years. That's incredible. I'll have to check those out. Best single use gadget series. I like that idea. Apparently, there's a green onion slice in it. That's a great idea. I love that. Um, there's a few single gadgets that I use. The lemon squeezer, I use that all day. Um, use my peelers a lot. So that I'll have to give that some thought, but that's a great idea. Thank you, Purple Cat. Yeah, so if you guys have any questions about the products, the any cookware brands, or just like my testing process in general, or if you have suggestions about products you want to see me review, please let me know. I do see pretty much every comment on YouTube I see, for the most part. There might be a day or two where I miss some that come in, but if you comment on a YouTube video, especially if it's pretty recent after I've posted it, I will see it. Um, and that's a good way to get in touch. I also have my email address in the description of every video, so you can email me, and I'm very responsive, so I will see the email and respond. Do you have those super amazing magnets linked in your Amazon storefront? Do you have an Amazon storefront? I do have an Amazon storefront, so It is, if you just Google Prudent Reviews Amazon, you will find it. It is also linked in the description of all of my videos. I think it's in the description of this live, but if not, go to any of my long form videos. You'll see my Amazon storefront. And these magnets, oh my gosh, these magnets, which I use to hang the cookware from my shelf, I will have to check to see if they're on Amazon. I got them at Home Depot, but they're so strong and they hold, I think, up to 60 pounds. So I was like worried with my cast iron skillets because some of them are 8-ish, 9 pounds. I was like, oh, these are going to fall and shatter while I'm filming a video. But no, not even close. They hold up really well. I see you stack pans. What is your pie in the sky idea of organizing all your cookware? Um, that's a good question. Um, for now, I stack them unless it's the non-stick stuff I put on the bottom and I try not to stack, or I put um like pan protectors between them. But for now I stack and I keep most of the cookware outside of my kitchen, and whatever I'm testing at the moment I'll keep in my kitchen in a cabinet stacked. But I think there's probably an opportunity for a product there because everyone's cookware cabinet is a mess from what I've seen, including my own. And I know some people hang their pans, but most people don't have room for that. So maybe there's some product out there that can solve that problem. You're not on. Yes, I hear this a lot about products not being available in Europe or other countries. I am in the US, and so a lot of the products I test are the ones that are popular in the US. But I try to test other countries' products, and if there's anything in particular you want me to test that's super popular, like Fissler was one that a lot of people in Germany were pinging me and tons of comments about Fissler, and it's really not a very popular brand in the US, or at least according to search volume data on Google. It's not, people don't search for Fissler very often. Um, but I tried it based on your recommendations and I love it. So keep those recommendations coming. Yeah, Mise en Saucier, huge fan of Mise. I have their 3-quart Saucier, and that's like my go-to pasta boiling water pan. I use it all the time. And I actually have the fry pan, the Mise fry pan right here, if anybody's interested. Huge fan of Mise. The one thing I wish was a little bit different is the handle's a little bit rounded. I'd prefer it a little bit flatter just for rotation purposes. But otherwise, really solid cookware, well built, sealed rims. And yeah, Bardus 88, yes. Like I said, I do focus on the products that are popular in the US, but I'm totally open to testing other products. So if you guys just reach out and let me know what brands are popular in your markets, I'll look into it. A lot of it comes down to be honest, it's like you want to make videos that a lot of people are interested in. There's a lot of these like niche brands out there that people will say, "Oh, have you tested this? Have you tested that?" And like, I'm sure it's great cookware, and I want to test them all. I don't have time to test everything, so I need to pick my spots. And so I try to focus on brands that people have a lot of questions about. If there are any brands in particular in your region, let me know. Um, I do test a lot of French cookware, um, a lot. The Belgium Demeyer. Demeyer is probably the brand I recommend the most. Um, they're Belgium. But I do a lot of US. I mean, there's not a lot of US. There's not a lot of stainless steel made in the US anymore. There are a handful, but there is a lot of cast iron made in the US. So that's sort of becoming a thing where these small companies are popping up and they're just focusing on craftsmanship and they're doing the smoother surfaces and they're expensive, but so far I've tested a handful and I really like them. Smithy is one, Stargazer is another, Field Company is another. Lloyd's pans. I'll have to check those out. Lloyd's pans are nice for homemade pizza. Yeah, I'm not the biggest baker. That's probably why I don't do as much baking content because my wife does most of the baking in our house, and I'm just sometimes I don't have the patience to do all the measuring and ingredients and making sure everything's precise. I kind of like to just throw things in and not measure. So um, I want to do more bakeware testing. I did the sheet pans, but I haven't done like bakeware sets or anything like that. So let me know if you're interested in that. There's so many good pots finds, and TJ Maxx and Home Goods would be great if you could cover some Italian pots. Yeah, TJ Maxx, Home Goods are incredible for deals. I did a video a while back. I can't remember. It might have been a year ago at this point, but I went to a bunch of Home Goods, TJ Maxx. There's another brand out of TJX called Home Sense. I don't know how. I don't know if they're all over the country, but they're in Massachusetts where I am, and those stores, like you're getting great deals. Um, I know a lot of it I don't know, it sort of feels a little bit like a clearance rack, but everything I've seen is in great shape and just heavily discounted, and they have brands like Viking, All-Clad, Cuisinart, Calphalon, so they have well-known brands. So if you are looking for a discount on good quality cookware, those those stores are a great place. Tefal. Yeah, Tefal, I tested Tefal a while back. I didn't make a video on it, but it is on my website. Um, and they are owned by the same company that owns Allclad. I think it's a French company, Group Seb, and they make sort of lower cost nonstick cookware. I think they do make some stainless steel, but the collection I tested was like pretty thin and pretty cheap, and it was fine. It was fine, but nothing special. Thank you, Shells. I appreciate that. And let me know if you guys enjoy these lives. So I did one on another platform last night or yesterday, and this is my first ever on YouTube. But I want to try to do them a little bit more often, especially on like days like Black Friday or like bigger shopping events to just hop on and answer questions and connect with you guys. Um, just because I talk to you guys a lot in the comments, but I wanna connect a little bit more live like this. I think it's really fun and hopefully it's helpful. Is Hexclad worth it or should I get something cheaper? This is a question I get a lot and I have some thoughts on it. Um, the short answer is there are cheaper options that perform pretty much the same. Um, Henkel's Paradigm is one. There's another one called Cooksey. And there's a bunch of others that just keep popping up. I think Viking has one. Pretty much everyone is jumping on the hybrid bandwagon. So it's one of those brands that's like super polarizing. Like people either love it or they hate it and they think it's a gimmick. And I actually like it. I don't love it. It's not like my go-to pan that I grab all the time, but um The steel raised up above the nonstick coating does provide some protection. It still can scratch, but I think more than anything, the pattern, it helps you control the oil so it stays under your food, and it does provide a little bit more of a lifespan to the nonstick. Um, so if you want like one pan, like if you live in a small apartment, you don't have a lot of room, and you're not sure, do I get stainless steel or do I get nonstick? If you only have room for like one pan or two pans, like a hexclad is not a bad option. Um, I'm not a hexclad hater like some people. I think some people make videos because hexclad is like, I think it's like probably the most um, one of the most popular brands just because of the sheer amount of marketing they do. And so I think people make videos bashing it just to kind of drive views and stuff like that. I think the cookware is good. It performs well. It is nonstick. It's not going to last forever. So like the last I checked, I think their 12-inch fry pan is like 140 bucks. So that's pretty pricey for a nonstick pan. That's about as high as I would go on a nonstick pan, and you can get other ones like the Tramontina for like 30 bucks. So depends on your budget and what you're looking for. I know that wasn't like a straightforward answer, but I have a video review on Hexclad that gets more into it. Thank you. I'm glad you are enjoying it. Appreciate the feedback. Where do I store all my pots and pans? So I have these big shelves that I got at Home Depot, and they're huge, and so I stack them all up on there. Hey, Alan. Glad to hear you're liking Strata. I was chatting about that earlier. I'm not sure if you were on, but huge fan of Strata. And here it is, Strata Carbon Clad. I need a little touch up on the seasoning, but really, really good carbon steel pan. If anyone wants to get into carbon steel, but you don't want to go for super heavy debouille or uh, Malvel or Matfer, this is a really good option. Do I enjoy cooking with Made In? Yes. So I have a bunch of Made In. I have their stainless steel, nonstick, enameled, cast iron, carbon steel, and one copper piece, and they're all really good. The carbon steel is a little bit on the thinner side, so like out of all the Made In collections, I think the carbon steel is probably the one that I would least recommend compared to like a Strata or a Debouille. But their stainless steel is solid. It's they've increased prices a little bit since tariffs, but they're still very, I think, a fair price for what you're getting for the stainless steel. And their nonstick is a little bit pricey. So if you buy Made In nonstick, make sure you're willing to treat it right because the nonstick coating, like any nonstick coating, will not last forever. So it's definitely on the pricier side. But their enameled cast iron and their stainless steel are both really well, really good. I have one nonstick. I'm impressed with how durable. Oh, good to hear. Is there a big difference between the all-clad copper core 12-inch wok and the all-clad copper core chef's pan? Um, I haven't tested either of those particular pieces, so I'm not entirely sure, but I would imagine the difference is just in shape and size, so I think it just depends what you want. Have you done any reviews on cooktop griddles? No, I have not done any reviews on cooktop griddles, but that is one that is on my list. So I think you're talking about the rectangular shaped griddles that you can put on your grill or on top of your cooktop and cook a bunch of pancakes or bacon or eggs or whatever. Sort of acts as like a flat top. Um, I do have the made in one and I have used that and it's nice. It is pretty heavy and a little clunky and it barely fits on my Weber grill. So you have to just be careful with the measurements and include the handles because you want to make sure it fits where you're going to put it. But I haven't tested any other brands, so I plan to do that. Probably would be good to do that in the summer. So maybe I'll do that before the summer, if not like early spring next year. Have I done any reviews of portable induction cooktops? No, I have not. That is another one that I keep getting questions about, and I just need to prioritize it. I have the Breville Control Freak, and I also have a one with 2 burners from Amazon, and those are the only 2 I've tested so far. Um, the Control Freak is really nice, but it's super expensive. I think it was like, I wanna say 1,200 bucks, which is, like, more than a lot of, like, full-sized oven ranges with cooktops, so it's definitely not something I would recommend for everyone. Definitely not necessary. Baomalu pots, I've never heard of that, but I will check that out. Um, is Heston Nanobond that much better than the made in stainless steel from performance as well as longevity perform standpoint? So this question is about Heston Nanobond, which I had in front of me, but now I can't. Here it is. Mm, eh, here it is. So this is the Heston Nanobond. Um, this is one of the most expensive stainless steel pans that I've tested. I think it's like 450 bucks, which is insane. Um, and it has the flush rivets, it has the sealed rims. The design is nice, the handle's nice, but the selling point for this pan is these tight, they call it titanium ions, which they basically put it in a chamber and it infuses this titanium to the surface. And I called up Heston, I asked him about this, and he basically said it's as thin as like a human hair, but it is, so it's kind of like a coating, like a permanent coating. Um, and it just makes the surface harder. So if you take a Scotch Brite sponge and you rub it like this to a regular stainless steel pan, it will scratch. Like you'll see little micro scratches, and with this pan, it won't. It also makes it a little bit, and this is like very marginal, but it makes it a little bit slicker, I found. It's by no means a non-stick surface, but if you grease it and preheat it, you get a little bit less sticking than typical stainless steel. So to answer your question, like if you cook a steak in Nanobond versus made in, or a burger or saute vegetables, like there's virtually no difference. But if you like the idea that this pan is going to not show little micro scratches over the years, yes, technically it's better. And technically the flush rivets are a little bit easier to clean. So from that standpoint, and the sealed rims, they make the edges of the cookware a little bit less sharp. So there's like a few little things. But, like, to go from 150 bucks for a 12-inch skillet to 450, it's, like, a pretty big leap. So, like, for most people, I would say, like, you're probably better off with made in, but if you're like, "I just wanna buy the best thing that's not gonna have any scratches and the flush rivets," then, like, Nanobond, you'll have it for 20, 30 years, so, you can justify it. Detachable detachable handle cookware sets. I'm not a fan at all. Um, I understand the benefit, like, easy for storage. You can use a handle and interchangeably. I'm not a fan. I've tested the carrot nonstick ones, um, and just regardless of what I think about that cookware, like the handles were kind of shaky, and there's a little spring mechanism, and it's just another thing that can break, and you can lose it, and I'm just not a fan at all. Unless you really, really need the storage space, or if you, like, are taking it in an RV or something like that, I wouldn't. buy detachable handle cookware. Uh, IKEA. IKEA is one of those brands that everyone always asks me about, Kirkland and IKEA, and I just need to test them. I have not had a chance to test them yet, so I don't have an opinion on that. Why do Hexclad and other Teflon pans layer Teflon onto the outside of pans? Isn't that just a safety hazard? Not to mention ease of getting scratched. It's a good question. I think the reason they do it is because they believe it's going to make the outside easier to clean, like with spillover. Um, but when you're putting Teflon directly on heat, that's probably not the best idea. And by the way, just so you know, Hexclad has switched to a ceramic nonstick coating, so they are no longer using PTFE as of like a year ago. Just so you know. Is Falk the thickest copper construction pan, saute pan? I have not tested Falk. That's another one. I'll check that out though. And like I said, I have not tested IKEA yet. So IKEA, Kirkland, Falk. There's another one in Germany that I haven't tested. It's slipping my mind, but there's a bunch on my list. ScanPan cookware. So I tested ScanPan a while back, and this was before I even started the YouTube channel. So there is a review on my website of ScanPan. I think as far as nonstick cookware goes, it performs well. Nothing about it really like stands out. It's very similar to Swiss Diamond. They both have like special formulated nonstick, which is supposed to last longer. Um, there's no evidence that it actually does, but in my testing, it performed fine. Um, Hexclad puts the hex patterns on the outside just for looks. Yeah, probably. A lot of the other hybrid cookware, like the Hexclad alternatives, have just steel on the outside. So if you're concerned about the nonstick coating directly on the heat, I would go with, I believe the Henkel's Paradigm pans have just steel on the bottom. If Heston charged an arm and a leg for a TI coated pan, why not just make it? It's a good question. I don't know the answer to that red bar cross. I'm not entirely sure. See what else I have in front of me. So I have Heston, Strata, Miesen, Maiden, Debuye, Cuisinart, Multiclad Pro, Demeyer. I have the All-Clad G5, which is a very interesting collection. I don't know if I did a review on it a little while back. This is the All-Clad G5. Um, I'll give them credit for innovating. Like there's not really that much innovation happening in stainless steel cookware, but they put the graphite, which is basically pure carbon, in the core of this cookware, and it just makes it lighter and heats faster. So, what was the pasta pot we really liked? I'm not sure, Purple Cat. Let me know what you're talking about, and I'll come back to you. G5, it should be. Last I checked, it was available on allclad.com. Let me just pull it up here and see if it's still there. Yep. Yeah, so it's on allclad.com. It used to be at Williams Sonoma as well, but not sure if it's still at Williams Sonoma. So if you're in the US or Canada, I believe Allclad, I believe, ships to US and Canada from their own website. Purple Cat, I think you're talking about Miesen. Yep. If I want just one cooking all-rounder set for cooking all sorts of things, do you think all-clad copper core is good? Good question, Omar. Yes, I think all-clad copper core is good, but I mentioned earlier the difference between all-clad copper core and all-clad D3 in terms of like actual cooking performance is very minimal, and you probably won't notice a difference. So, if you like the copper core because of the handles and the copper ring and stuff like that, go for it. It's very well performing cookware. All clad D3 is specifically D3 Everyday because D3 Everyday has the newer handles that are a little bit more comfortable, which I can show you right here. So yeah, so this is all clad D3 Everyday handle, which you can see has this subtle groove here. And let me show you the other all clad handles. Where are you? Mhm. Hmm, I don't see it anywhere. Anyway, um, here. This isn't all clad copper core, but this is all clad copper core's basic handle design with the deep groove. So you have that, or you have the all clad D3 Everyday. I personally prefer the all clad D3 Everyday. It's just a little bit more comfortable. So if you were going all clad for a set, I would go with all clad D3 Everyday, but you can't go wrong with copper core. Calphalon. What are your thoughts on Calphalon? I have a stainless steel set from 20 years ago. Um, I haven't tested Calphalon in a while, and I've mainly tested their nonstick. So that's another brand that is pretty popular in the US that I plan on testing more soon. What's my go-to pan for a standard meal? Really depends, but I'm usually like if I'm cooking a protein for dinner, like chicken or steak or burgers or turkey burgers, I'll either grab a stainless steel fry pan, like a 12-inch fry pan, or cast iron. I've really been enjoying my Smithy cast iron. Just holds heat really well, has the smooth surface. So I will use that a lot. And I also use a 3 or 4 quart saucier. Um, Lately, I've been using the Misen saucier. I also have the all clad. I think this is 4 quart. It's just a good size. It's not too big, not too small. Can fit a box of pasta in there easy, and it doesn't overcrowd. So that's what I use a lot. But I'm probably not the right person to ask because when I have videos coming up, I have those pans right next to my stove, ready to test every time I cook. So I rotate brands a lot. Um, there's not like one that I just use over and over again. Like I'm constantly rotating. Completely blind cook. 7 quart stove. Fucker says light colored interior is lost to me. Mm-mm-mm. Symbiotic piece. I'm not entirely sure I understand that if that's a question, but just let me know. Yeah, the all clad handles. So some people love these handles and some people hate them. I wouldn't say I hate them, but they're meant for like a professional chef. So they're meant like if you have a towel in your hand and you grab these, they're not gonna rotate. This groove prevents any sort of slipping. But for just the normal home cook that cooks 3 meals a day or 2 meals a day, um, you don't really need such a deep groove. It just makes it uncomfortable. And I think Allclad is recognizing that because every collection that they've come out with in the last 5 years has the new handle on the D3 every day. So they're hearing the feedback and it seems like they're pivoting. Yeah, I do wish they updated everything. We'll see if they do. Maybe they will. Goldilocks. I bought a Goldilocks skillet based on your videos. Um, Great choice. Huge fan of Goldilocks. I actually have their pan right here. So this is Goldilocks for anyone not familiar. It is a very good stainless steel affordable option. And there's not a ton, if any, drop off from Goldilocks to more expensive brands. So really good choice. It is made in China. I know some people care about that or where it's made. They want American made or European made. But if you don't care, Goldilocks is a great option. I wish they updated. What saute pan would I recommend? Um, in terms of brand, if the question is about brand, um, there are so many good ones, and it really depends on your price points. Um, but I would definitely get a stainless steel saute pan. And if you're looking for like a mid to upper range brand, Made in Misen, Heritage Steel is a really good brand as well. It's made in America. I really like their Eater series. Um, but then if you go higher end, Heston Pro Bond, Heston Nano Bond, Demeyer Atlantis, those are some good options. I'm gonna jump just to let you guys know, I'm gonna jump off at 1:30 in about 2 minutes, just because 'cause I'm getting really hungry. I haven't had lunch, but, I'll answer a few more questions here. Ordered the Mise en Pan skillet on Prime Day. Yes, yes, Mise is on sale on Prime Day. I mentioned this before, but, I have a newsletter where I don't send emails every day, but I send emails when a bunch of brands go on sale. So like this week on Prime Day or Black Friday or any other shopping holidays, I will let the people who signed up for my newsletter know these brands are on sale. Here are the links. Here are the promo codes. Whatever it is. Allclad also runs a ton of factory second sales, and actually Made In just ran a factory second sale where like if the product has a little nick on it or a little scratch and they can't sell it at a retailer, they sell it on these factory second sales for like up to 70% off. And so if you are on the newsletter, you can I will let you know as soon as those factory second sales go live because they sell out pretty quickly. There's usually like one or two items within each like if they list the 12-inch fry pan, there might be like one 12-inch fry pan on the factory second sale. So like when you get the email, go to the sale, and if you see something, you can get like a crazy good deal. Thanks for clarifying, Symbiotic. Appreciate it. Misen products, I believe, are made in China. Um, they may vary a little bit by product line, but I know their stainless steel is made in China. Prima Matera, I'm assuming you're talking about the Debuye Prima Matera. Um, and if you are, I think I might have it right here. Oh, yes. Nope, this is a different one, but it looks very similar to this. Um, it's really nice. It's incredibly expensive. I think in the US it's like $700 or something because it's copper. Um, but it looks beautiful and it cooks really nice. Falk is on my list. So just so you guys know, Falk, Kirkland, IKEA, F Finex are some of the ones that are on my list. I'm also testing a bunch of other kitchen stuff, not just cookware. So coming up soon, I'm gonna be doing one on cutting board materials. I'm gonna be testing some of those like titanium and steel and all different types of woods and plastics. Um, I'm gonna be doing kitchen scales, meats, thermometers, a bunch of stuff, small appliances. So I'm gonna try to do a little bit more variety, but I still have tons of cookware in the backlog. Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much, and thank you guys for watching my videos and supporting me. I'm a one-man show, just trying to help you guys out. I really love doing it, and so thank you for supporting me. And I plan on doing a lot more of these lives. So if you liked this, like send me an email or leave a comment. Let me know you like this and it was helpful. I want to do a lot more of them. I think they're fun, and hopefully you guys get insight on them. I'll answer this last question about Heston prices. I got an email last week that I believe their prices are going up, like this week, maybe even today. So you can maybe Google it, but I'm 99% sure Heston sent out an email that said their prices are going up, which is hard to believe because they're very expensive to begin with. But yeah, awesome. Thank you guys so much. I will let you guys know when the next live is happening. I'll give you more notice next time. But I just felt like jumping on because this week was like such a big shopping week. So take care, everyone, and I will talk to you soon.